Hi, and welcome to Dave's Think Tank. Way back in April, might have even been March, I did an unboxing video. I unboxed a new Playfield for the Star Trek. The current Star Trek is an overlay I installed way back in 2002, 2003, somewhere in there, and it was great for 10 years or more. Then it started getting little bubbles in it. Those bubbles have grown, and over the past 2 or 3 years, the whole playfield has been coming up. So it's time to replace it. So I've got a new playfield from CPR, and the first thing you're supposed to do is set it aside for a month to make sure the surface is cured good and hard. So I set it aside for a month, and then I set it aside for a second month just to make sure. And then the summer came and I was too busy to do anything. Then the fall came and I was too busy to do anything. And Christmas came and I was too busy to do anything. It's a big project. I'm not sure even where to start on it. So anyway, a few weeks back I finally got it out and looked at it. And the darn thing was warped. And I thought, what the heck is with this? So I called up CPR. They said, you put the side rails on, it will be fine. But I thought, well, I'm going to first set it flat, put some boxes on top of it, leave it for a couple weeks. So I've done that, and it's a lot better. It's about half what it was. Okay, put some newsprint down on it. Well, not printed newsprint, but newsprint paper. And I've been measuring it. Measure it with playing cards, and just stick that down and see how many cards will go underneath. 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 9 cards. So started out as about 24, 25. What bothers me most, it rocks back and forth like that. But anyway, it's quite a bit better. It's about half what it was before, and I think they're right. When I put the side rails on, everything should straighten out. So I think I'm about at that point. I don't have time today or tomorrow, but very soon. Probably I'll put the boxes back on for another few days and then get started on it. I'm going to take the side rails off the Star Trek, get started painting them, and maybe look at a couple other things. Let's take a look. One of the nice things about my reprogrammed self-tests using the Arduino, I can go into the light test, and I can change it from this just flashing lights. I can look at the lights one at a time. Okay, so this is light 0. That's light 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Every light is numbered. Here's the number up here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to lift up the playfield, and underneath I can mark on each light the number, and right beside it I can mark the number, so that when I transfer all of the lighting over to the new playfield, I will have a reference to make sure I get all the lights in the right place in the first go. So as you can see, my lighting is mostly all yopsicles, so fairly easy to take a Sharpie and just write 16, 17, 18, 19, and put the numbers right beside as well. I think I'm also going to probably outline all of these T-nuts so that I can find them, put them in the right place. I'm also going to line all of the wiring, so I can trace it all and make sure it all gets in the right place when I get it on the new board. A lot of people report that they have problems with these rollovers, but I don't know if I'm just a lucky one. They seem to work just fine. They fit in just fine. There's a little gap at the end of each arm here, so I think that's okay. If you do have trouble, you can take a little strip of sandpaper and just slip it down in there and try to sand off whatever little edge there may be. I've got the Playfield all unplugged, and I've got a game plan. My plan is I'm going to take the side rails off, and there's an end rail there as well. Take those off. I'm going to paint them, and then I'm going to try to fit them onto the new Playfield and see if it resolves all of my warping issues. I think it will. And I have a plan. If it doesn't, I can always put a peg in the side here to hold that end down, a peg in there to hold that end down, so I'm not too worried about it. I hope that is not going to be necessary though. So yeah, next step, open it up and take those rails off. So I've got the side rails off, and I've cleaned them up. I bought two products for this project, Simple Green and POR 15 rust remover. I used the Simple Green on these, and they cleaned up really well. All of these had real heavy black marks all along them where the ball has been traveling these past 20-25 years. They had very heavy black marks. I did not think they were going to come off, but the Simple Green took probably like 95% of it off, and I've just used a little sandpaper to get it the last of it off, but you can see they are just about perfect. So I'm going to repaint these and install them on the new board. See how that goes. So I'm done painting, and I'm just taking a look at this board where I'm going to be attaching that, and a lot of these holes, you probably can't see that, but the clear coat has come straight through, and it's probably half a dozen or more holes. One of them was one of these that I'm going to be using for the side rails, so I drilled it out. And the other thing I'm seeing, these screws are supposed to go down to the wood and into an indent for them, and some of these indents are pretty shallow. So fortunately I have one of these bits from an old drill kit I bought probably a century ago, and I'm going to just widen these just slightly. But yeah, a few of them have to be drilled out. I think you can take just take a chisel and just remove the little bit that's on there, which is important for the Playfield. You want it to stay level on the edges here. Probably not so important in the middle, but we'll probably do that anyway. Okay, not sure if you can see this, but I've countersunk all these holes, and you can take your screw, place it there, and see that the hole is about the same size as the screw, and now the screw will lie flat with the board. So I've drilled out all the holes filled with clear cut solution, except for the ones around the pop bumpers. Now, for some reason 1, 2, 3 on each has clear coat in the bottom, so I'm going to have to drill out 9 of them, 3 for each of the 3 pop bumpers, and you select a bit by making sure it fits in the hole, so that it's not. Definitely don't want it too big. You do not want to take out any of the wood, but I will drill that out, and there'll be a bubble on the back. Oh, not that one. Those are through. But there will be a bubble on the back, and I'll take that off with a chisel to make sure everything lies flat on the other side. Just show you drilling one. I'm going to drill it from the Playfield side so that there's no damage to the Playfield. Maybe a little damage on the back side, but that's okay. Not too worried about that. Yeah, that's 3. Here it is on the back side. And if there's a little plastic bubble left, you just take a chisel and scrape it off. There we go. Oh, you have to use a hammer on that one. Okay, this could be a problem. The holes in the Playfield, the new Playfield board, are not lined up with the holes from the old end rail. I've checked the other 3, they all seem okay. But I think what I'm going to have to do with this end rail, I'm going to have to fill those holes with some wood glue and toothpicks and drill new holes. Okay, so here's my plan. I've got all the screws in on this side. I've got them in so that they are just barely poking through on the other side. And then I'll be able to take this side rail, line it up, make sure it's on every screw, take a couple of C-clamps, clamp it in place, and screw them in fully. Okay, last one. Very surprised to find out, by the way, these are Robertson screws. Well, my drill ran out of power, so I will finish that up in a couple of hours. For now, I'm going to come over here. I have a plan. My plan is I'm going to strip everything off the top that I can get off the top. And then I'm going to stand it up, and I'm going to get everything that's passing through the board. I'm going to take off the board so that I've cleared absolutely everything off the top here. Then I'm going to take a look at the bottom and do the same thing, clear everything, and I'm going to organize it all over here into little boxes. This is a useful tool. It's part of an old socket set, and I've taken this particular socket. It is 5/16. Yep, try and get that back on with one hand. It is 5/16 inch socket, and I have put it on here dedicated for one purpose: removing these caps. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do about this piece. I'm going to turn it around. It's just perfectly rectangular. So I'm just going to turn it around so that the holes don't line up at all. And I'm going to drill 5 new holes and put in the screws. And I guess I'll drill one hole at each end and get the screws in, and then drill the other holes, make sure everything's all lined up. Side rails are all in place, and it still has a corner to corner wobble, so I have a plan for that. I'm going to try putting some pegs in. After it's all built, it's all installed, it's all ready to go, put some pegs in the side, one to hold that down and one to hold that end down, and something that I can hopefully just pull out whenever I want to get under the playfield. But yeah, let's do that another time for sure. Well, if I was going to do this over again, I would not assume that the holes are going to be in the right place. This is off by 1/8 of an inch. Like we saw before, this is all off by 1/8 of an inch, but it's actually quite low by, yeah, between 1/8 and 1/4 inch there. Actually going up to its level here. Okay, and this is in by 1/8 of an inch. So yeah, I would just fill in the holes in these boards and drill new holes for everything and make sure it was all in exactly the right place. I've just been out shoveling for a couple of hours, so I won't be getting much done today. I do want to take some of these things off that are through the board, though. I'll probably get this off for sure. The kicker and the outhole kicker, and these lights. This is my own design here. I solder the lights on, solder the black wire to the base, and what I've started doing is make a loop of wire, loop of copper wire, and lasso the cylinder, and then solder that to the red wire. So I'll have to undo that, and then hopefully I can get the pop bumpers off. I've taken them off once before, but it was well over 20 years ago, so I don't remember how to do it. We'll find out. The last thing holding the outhole kicker in place is a couple of wires here. So I've labeled the wires on the bottom of the board here, gray, white, and yellow. Should help me to make sure they get hooked up properly on the new board. I often think about life as past me and future me, and often past me I find has done a lot of work in advance. He's set something aside, he's figured something out, he's written it down, and he's left it for me, and past me is the hero. But sometimes past me just really screws me over, and I hate that guy. So this is one of those cases. Past me put this overlay on over top of 9 screws that I have to now find and somehow cut out from underneath this overlay. So thanks for nothing, past me. Okay, so this is where they come from. 1, 2, a third one there. And what I dig out of here is one of these. It's kind of it's a half nail, half screw. And I was very surprised to dig this out. I was expecting to find like a Phillips head screw in there, but no, it's a nail, so there's no way to get it out. So I'll show you the method I used to get one of these out. Okay, so here's the nail screw sticking out the bottom here, and it's held on with a nut. So what we're going to do, we're going to put that nut back on just slightly, just enough to hold it. And we get a screwdriver and a hammer, and pop it out. Here they are on the top side, and you can just pull them up. And by the way, I'm getting a whole lot better at finding these and cutting them out for comparison. Okay, I've now cleared everything off the top side of the Playfield, except for a few rollover switches here. But I've done that so that I can lay this down flat somewhere. I can work on it without losing all of the screws down into the depths here. So one thing I had to do, I had to remove a few staples, and it looks like I'm going to have to remove a lot more staples. There's just way too many staples in this game. But just thought I'd show you my process here. Take an awl and a hammer, get the awl under a corner of the staple, try to point it away from wires, away from anything. Put that through, and you can pry it up. Once it's up, get your wrench, or sorry, you get your pliers, and pull it out all the way. Okay, this one may actually be soldered onto the board, so leave that one for later. Okay, it's all cleaned out. Looks okay. A lot of stains, some ground in dirt, but good for another 40 years. Okay, I'm all set up on the floor here. I'm going to be removing everything, then I can put the new Playfield beside it and just hopefully just lift everything up and over to the new one, keeping everything more or less in place. So wish me luck on that. This is something you're probably going to want to know. You're going to need primarily, where are we, a 1/4 inch socket. You're going to need a 5/16 socket. See if I can find where it says that. Yep, there, 5/16 socket. A Phillips head, and as I pointed out, for some reason the side rails were held on with a Robertson screw, so you need the small green-handled Robertson. And other than that, those are the main tools for taking the whole thing apart. So every screw is out. Last thing left is to take out all the staples, and that's gonna take hours. Ugh, ridiculous number of staples in this thing. The drop target, I will probably take the solenoid off, and so that the drop target itself isn't just a big anchor holding everything back while I'm trying to move all the wires across. Okay, all the staples are removed, all the screws are removed, everything has been taken off, and I'm pressing my luck by filming this. I'm going to try and just slide all the wires over onto this board. Of course, everything's just going to get caught and mucked up. Next step, figure out where it all goes. Actually got one more step first. I still have all these T-nuts in here. So what I have here, I have a screw that I've marked as bent. So it's not going to be used for anything else. Put that in there, give it a couple twists, hit it with the hammer, and out it comes. So I've adjusted everything back into place and checked all the numbers on all of the obstacles, all the numbers I put on all the obstacles, made sure they're all right. I don't think I showed you, I put numbers on all the solenoids and on all the switches, and I've double checked them just to make sure I haven't reversed any switches that are in identical places or something like that. So I think we're ready to move on. I've washed up all of the T-nuts, and I think the next thing is to put those on. Then I will probably bolt down all of the obstacles, put them all into place. Then I'll probably staple down all of the wiring, and then start putting the rest of things into place. And as I find things that are that need to be cleaned or whatever, I will take them apart and wash them up and put them in. So this may be a long process, maybe not sure.
See you in the future. You mean the past? Exactly.